What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out NATO's newest members, Sweden, pack a small but powerful military punch. This is by Forces News. It's only a small video. We're going to talk over it. We're going to chat about it. We're going to discuss what benefits Sweden has to NATO and what benefits NATO has to Sweden. Yeah, I'm excited to start looking into these. The recent videos of me talking about Finland and Sweden joining NATO seem to get a lot of love from a lot of people. And I really enjoy doing a bit more stuff about what's going on with NATO and a bit more current affairs. Now that I'm living in the UK, it's really kind of nice to keep up with that type of stuff because it's really close to home now. Considering I was living in America for 9 months, and you can kind of just 9 years, you can kind of just ignore everything when you're living in America because you're so far away from Europe. But now we're not, so I like to keep up to date with this stuff. If you want to watch these videos without me waffling over the top of them, you can certainly do that. There'll be a link down below in the description if you want to check that out without me gobbing off over the top of it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps with that mysterious YouTube algorithm. Let's have a look at this. Look at that. Look at that. It's great photo right there. Great photo. Let's have a look. Turn subbies on.
Främsta förband för strid och spaning på djupet.
Sweden applied for NATO membership 3 months after Russia invaded Ukraine. After lots of political haggling, mainly involving Turkey, it's finally gained entry to the alliance.
It's interesting how as soon as Ukraine was invaded, all these Finland and Sweden were like, all right, yeah, we really need to have that backup. Because at the end of the day, Russia wouldn't have been invading Ukraine if they were part of NATO. We all know that. That's incredibly important to be aware of for these countries, so it makes sense for them wanting to join.
It brings a huge amount, an advanced military, a key geographical position that would allow NATO forces to quickly reinforce Norway and Finland, and a highly developed defence industry, a major asset as NATO tries to rearm. So what about Sweden's military? What has it got? Well, first thing to say is it's comparatively small, with just
14,850 active personnel and 11,450 reservists. At the end of the day, right, we're kind of aware these days that, yeah, it's nice to have a really large military, but it's also the quality of them soldiers, which really makes the biggest difference. I mean, look at a lot of countries in Europe, like the UK and other countries in Europe that don't have the biggest military, but they're just known for being really smart on the ground and really smart soldiers. And I think constantly going off numbers just isn't really a thing anymore. Like, Russia had numbers, and yet Ukraine didn't, and Ukraine are holding themselves pretty well, even though, you know, it's going on for quite a while now and it's starting to get a bit of a struggle. They are holding themselves pretty well. So numbers aren't everything. They obviously help. Having 50,000 soldiers is nicer than 14,000, but if them 50,000 aren't trained well enough, what's the point? Do you know what I mean?
under 15,000 regulars. That's supplemented by around 11,500 reservists. It does have conscription, reintroduced in 2018, but it's small and selective, with only around 4,000 men and women called up. Sweden's army has just under 7,000 troops, but for such a small force, it's well equipped. It has 110 Leopard 2 main battle tanks, 319 CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles, and 26 Archer self-propelled howitzers.
Archer self-propelled howitzers. I've not heard of them before. Let me know if you want me to look into them on the video. I mean, it's got the gear. They've got the gear, right? Would you rather have, just for an example, would you rather have 20,000 soldiers ill-equipped, or would you rather have 5,000 soldiers with really good gear? I mean, again, look at Russia-Ukraine, right? This is the massive example here. Russia invaded. We found out very quickly that the gear that these lads had, these Russian soldiers, were dreadful. Like, some of the equipment they had was horrific. And so they kept getting beat back. You know, like that's just what happened. Ukraine was getting money poured into it from all the Western countries, giving them all the good equipment, and they were able to push them back, you know, or at least hold themselves. Gear is incredibly important, a lot more important than people expect, I think.
These are the Swedish-designed rapid-fire artillery systems that the British Army is also buying. They can engage a target, fire and drive away in less than 20 seconds.
Wow.
Next up, Sweden's Navy. It's regarded as small but very capable, bigger than every other navy in the Baltic except Germany's. It tends to operate exclusively in the Baltic Sea and along the country's west coast. In terms of personnel, it has around 2,300, half as sailors, half amphibious forces.
Amphibious forces. I wonder if they have Marines. I wonder if they have that structure like we do where, you know, me being a former Royal Marine, that we would work amphibiously. Like that's what? Amphibiously? Amphibiously? Is that a word? We would work as amphibious soldiers, and that was our speciality, right? Like this is something that we did often. We were moving between ships and land very quickly, quite a lot. I worked, my primary work in the Marines was on a ship, right? So this is something that we do a lot. Wonder if they have that. Wonder if they have Marines. I'm not too sure.
Vessel-wise, Sweden has, amongst other things, 4 submarines, 5 corvettes and 7 mine warfare ships. Sweden's Gotland submarines have a unique engine that uses the power generated by expanding and contracting gases to drive the subsystems.
Interesting.
It makes them particularly quiet and means they don't have to surface for weeks.
Wow.
Finally, Sweden will also bring its impressive air force to the North Atlantic Alliance. It includes 2,700 Air Force personnel and 6 squadrons of Gripen multi-role fighter jets, produced by the Swedish company Saab. Sweden's Air Force operates around 100 Gripens.
I just recorded a video on the Gripen. I don't know whether it'll be out before or after this. My presumption is it'll be out before this. So if you haven't watched it already, go and watch it or look out for it if it's not out yet. But yeah, I'm interested in this aircraft. I haven't actually recorded it yet, but it may go out sooner. I am very interested in this aircraft. People were telling me how it's actually incredibly capable of dogfights. Even though it's not a stealth aircraft like the F-35 or the F-22, the capabilities of movement with this thing is unreal. And I'm going to find out soon when I watch this, but I'm really excited to find out more about it. The Gripen JAS 39CD.
Including a few of the newer E-model with upgraded avionics and sensor systems. It'll eventually get 60 of this newer plane. The Gripen's considered one of the world's most capable 4th generation plus fighters and can carry 6 air-to-air missiles, the same as the F-35. But it's also able to fire the Meteor air-to-air missile, which is faster and has more range than the AIM-120 used on the American aircraft. Sweden also has a highly regarded Special Operations Group. So while it's relatively small...
It didn't really talk much about that Special Operations Group there. I want to know more about that. Tell me.
Sweden has a very capable military with huge experience of the Baltic region. By joining the alliance, Sweden has left behind 200 years of neutrality and non-alignment. Its membership both hugely symbolic and militarily important. Another brick in the Western Wall against Vladimir Putin's territorial ambitions.
Well, that's the thing. They could have stayed neutral. They could have stayed neutral, but Russia were pushing buttons, right? Like, they invaded Ukraine. Like, think about that for a second. That did the complete opposite to what Putin wanted and made NATO expand. It was a stupid move. It was ridiculous.
Simon Newton, Forces News.
Yeah. Great video. It kind of gave us an overview of what's going on with Sweden's military. I do want to look into more of each aspect. I want to know more about the Navy. I want to know more about the Air Force and the boots on the ground. I want to know more about the special forces that they have over there, because I think it's all super interesting. And now that they are part of NATO, this is incredibly important to people like me who live in the UK and people in America as well, to be fair. At the end of the day, these are now part of NATO, right? Like, they are officially part of NATO, and it means that their soldiers are next to us when we're fighting. That's the way it works. They can call Article 5 whenever they want. Well, as long as there actually is something bad that happens, they can call Article 5. And my fellow Royal Marines will be over there helping them out if they needed to be. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I would have loved to have worked with more Scandinavian militaries. I just never managed to get to, unfortunately. But I would have loved to have done that. Anyway, what do you think in the comment section down below? What do you think Sweden brings to NATO, and what do you think NATO brings to Sweden? That's another thing that this doesn't go over. The benefits of NATO going to Sweden as well. Let me know in the comment section. Other than that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps with that mysterious YouTube algorithm. Expect some more great videos coming very soon. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.